12 spiritual powers. Join us each Thursday at 7 p.m. You know, if you don't fall asleep, take a nap, and wake up at 8, like I did last
Oh, that's where you were.
Yeah, kind of conked out. You can find weekly class updates on our webpage calendar, so you can keep up with us. The cost is on a love offering basis. No one will be turned away, and you can email. I want everyone to say together.
info@uofva.org.
Just because we say it a gazillion times, I feel like it's a
I know, we know this, we know
It's
this.
an affirmation.
yeah.
Yeah, it's like an affirmation.
Okay.
It's a good-
Our prayer team. Do we have a slide for that or no? Whatever. Our prayer team welcomes any and all requests for prayer. You can write a request. That's hard to say. You can write a request for the prayer box, which is right there. Or you can email info@uofva.org. Your request is held in confidence and we enfold you in divine love. You can also request prayer on our webpage, which is uofva.org. Our statement of commitment. Unity of Fredericksburg stands in solidarity with all people for diversity, and inclusion. This week we have a video link and short description. The title is How to Build an Anti-Racist Company, and it's an article from the Harvard Business Review. As a black man with 3 decades of experience in the corporate world, James White, the author, has a deep understanding of how to conceive and implement diversity, equity, and inclusion agendas from the top down. Following the 2020 murders of Ahmaud Arbery, Breonna Taylor, and George Floyd, he was approached by numerous executives who wanted to act to combat systemic racism and sought his advice on how to proceed. So White and his daughter Krista wrote the book, Anti-Racist Leadership, to share what he has learned. In the article, which is adapted from the book, it's actually a review of the book, White provides guidance for getting started. And if you would like to receive our weekly newsletter, just email info@uofva.org. We would like to take a moment to focus our hearts on the people of Ukraine. Our hearts join together in prayer for the people of Ukraine. We hold the highest vision for peace and tranquility. We give thanks knowing that God is present in every situation. And now our daily word with Linda Thornton. Thanks.
Today's daily word is trust, and the affirmation, which we'll repeat at the end, is I place my trust in God. Few things are a greater comfort than deep and abiding trust in God. When I trust, I move more confidently through life. I feel the wind at my back and am made strong in the face of adversity. In the past, I may have felt disappointed when I misplaced my trust. The things of the world are impermanent. Even people come and go. The trust of God as the one presence and power in the universe, and as my life is everlasting, unchanged and unchanging through all the seasons of life. Even as I grow, evolve, and deepen in spiritual understanding, God is always my source, the inspiration I return to again and again. My freedom to seek and discover lies in the awareness that I can always trust in God. The spiritual reading is from Isaiah 26:4. Trust in the Lord forever, for in the Lord God you have an everlasting rock. So we can say together,
I place my trust in God. Thank you.
Thank you, Linda. Now we have more music from Luke Gray.
All right. Want to tell us a little bit?
So I'm going to be playing Charmed Life by Greg Howard. one of the most prolific chat-and stick players on the planet, who interestingly left us in Charlottesville.
Oh, okay.
This is an original of his.
Come on over. Come on over. Yeah. Yeah, that's nice. That's great. Thanks.
Okay, so I always have to know, where can I hear more of that?
Yes,
You'll
yes.
probably be able to find tons of videos and cool resources if you look at stick.com, which is where you can get one for yourselves, and there's lots of cool listening things and information and whatnot.
Stick.com. That's easy to remember.
Yeah, stick.com. Oh, that's great. First of all, I love the sound of that instrument, and you played it so well.
Thank you.
Love it. All right. And now it's time for Reverend Lily Sandberg.
Yeah, let's get her going on.
First talk as a Unity ordained reverend, so I am so excited to get to share with you and have such gratitude in my heart that this is not the first time I'm joining you. Even before I was officially reverend, I've been your guest speaker a handful of times, and it is just so wonderful to get to have communities who want to hear from me and who I get to connect with, even though I am in Albuquerque, New Mexico, and you are where you are this morning, either joining us virtually or in person at your spiritual center. I am just so grateful we get to do this work together. So I was asked to be able to be part of your series that you are diving into this incredible book, Divine Audacity. It is one of my favorites on my bookshelf. It is a new Unity classic, in my opinion. And what we are talking about today is love calling us higher. I think love can get a bad rap. I know for me, when I just think about love in the simple and the human, I limit it. You know, when all we think about is love on Valentine's Day or anniversaries or birthdays, that love is incredibly powerful, don't get me wrong, but if that's all we think love is, we are missing a magnitude of love. Love of God, love of self, love of communities, love as principle, love as action. Beyond that, love as a feeling that we may or may not know well. I think we can push that boundary, and so that is some of what we are going to be doing this morning. And so there are a handful of pieces in this talk that may challenge your concept of love. And I want to say this at the beginning because sometimes we need permission when we get challenged. A challenge is there with our ideas to touch into our embedded theology. And so what embedded theology is something that we believe, whether it came from an outside source, as part of our lineage, as part of us being raised, as part of our society, that we have not challenged, that we've just assumed to be true and have operated as such. And so with love, because love is so important and love is so personal and love can be an expression of so many things, sometimes we don't want that challenged. I know for me, whenever I had been challenged by a teacher when it came to my concept of love, I got very defensive. And I said, no, this is my experience of love. You don't get to talk about it. You don't get to challenge it today. And that is okay. That if you are in a place where you're saying, I'm not sure if I'm going to dive into this challenge today, Reverend Lily, that is fine by me. But if you are open and willing to be more expansive, to be more open to what love can be, I invite us to do that work together because I think it can be powerful, but it also takes responsibility. That love is not for the faint of heart. The work that we are doing in unity of being constant spiritual learners is not for the faint of heart. And so if you are willing to take that challenge today or in the future, I celebrate that with you. And if you are not in that place today and you are just going to hold on to those concepts for you that feel true, rock on. Let's dive in. Growing up in unity, I heard an affirmation of love every single Sunday. You are a perfect child of God, and God and I love you just the way you are. God and I love you just the way you are. So there was no mistake in my mind that I was incredibly loved in my youth, in my evolution, in my home church, that my community loved me, that was affirmed to me and the rest of the kids in our youth program every single Sunday morning. And so for me, that was that concept of love, that I knew that I was loved by my parents, I knew that I was loved by my siblings, I knew that I was loved by my spiritual community, and so love was a two-way street, that I was loved and I got to love them. And so this was that concept of love that I was working within. And so it wasn't until I was in high school that it was brought to the point where we were talking about love as an attribute of God as well. That God loves me, and I can love God, but also I am God, so that I'm also love. Have you ever had those questions? Sometimes in unity, when we're diving into being principle, being connected to God, we can say, wait, what? How am I supposed to do this? So for me, that was a question, and that's been a question that I have chewed on and worked within for a long time, that our second unity principle says that we are inherently connected to God through our inherent goodness that lives within. And so we are an expression, a living embodiment of God. So if God is love, then I am also love, and then I am called to love, to be loving, to accept love, to feel loved. You get where this could get messy? It feels like there's so many layers of love that we are constantly working within in unity. And so I bring us to a definition that supports how love can be multidimensional and multifaceted. And so I'm pulling from Use the Truth You Know, which is a book by the Reverend Dr. Paul Hasselbeck. If you have been in unity for a bit, I'm sure you have sat with some of Paul Hasselbeck's work, and he is one of the best challengers in our movement. So, in talking about the principle of love, Paul Hasselbeck says, the principle of love should not be confused with the feeling or emotion of love. He then quotes from Charles Fillmore, Jesus Christ Heals. God is not loving, God is love. Let me stop there, because that's one of those challenging
Yeah.
pieces.
Yes.
God is not loving, God is love. That if God is love, God, that is all God is. That means that God is not loving. We'll come back to that, but just chew on that. And if that triggers something in you, hold on to that. God is not loving, God is love. The great heart of the universe and of humanity, from which is drawn forth all feeling, sympathy, emotion, and all that goes into the makeup of the joys of existence. Yet God does not love anyone or anything. God is the principle of love in everybody and everything. God is love. People become loving by expressing that which God is, the principle of love, in word and action. So let's dive into a few of these pieces, because Charles Fillmore, our co-creator of Unity, sometimes can get confusing in his writing. So let's take a moment. God does not love anybody or anything. God is the principle of love in everybody and everything. Does that flip your mind a little bit? Because it flips my mind a little bit. That yes, God is the principle of love, but then that makes God not loving? It's so interesting to me, because when we put the adjectives of loving and loved, we are taking that to a lower level of understanding that is less than principle, where in principle, God is love. That love is a divine attribute that we are imbued with. We were born with as an expression of God, as an expression of the Christ consciousness living in this world. We are love, which means that calls us way higher than just being loving in this world. That if we are love, love as expressed by God, us as an embodiment and expression of God, that gives us so much more responsibility for how we are to show up in this world. And I am not saying it's easy. Let me tell you, I think showing up as love means way more in this world than just being loving. And it is because not many of us have said yes to that responsibility. Because it's a big one. Mm-hmm. That being loving means that you cut me off in traffic and I'm just going to let you go. Being love means at a stoplight, centering myself in prayer and surrounding your car in divine protection for wherever you're going, in that need to cut me off. That being love versus just being loving does not mean that I just agree to disagree. It means leaning in to ask the question, can you tell me more? That being love is beyond our actions. It calls us into thought, mind, emotion, and action of love. That it cannot just be a demonstration of being loving. Because there have been so many times in my life, I take full responsibility that I have not held loving thoughts, but I have said loving things. And there was a disconnect there in me, and I'm sure the other person could feel that. Because if we are out of alignment in our thought, word, emotion, and action, we are not fully being love. We are not fully embracing that call of love that we are so called into in unity by principle. And so coming to the book, Divine Audacity, when Reverend Linda Martellowitz talks about love, she says, love is capable of unconditional acceptance and the view that all things work out for good. To those who love God, in the above referenced scripture, it may understand that you are a source of God, those who are focused upon the power of love. Charles Fillmore said this about the power of love. Put these listening ears on. This is again Fillmore talking about love. It insists that all is good, and by refusing to see anything but good, love causes the quality to finally appear as the utmost in itself and in all things. Love insists that all is good, and by refusing to see it as anything but good, it causes the quality to appear as the utmost in itself and in all things. All is good feels really challenging for me to say and think and believe and act into. When it feels like the world is on fire, when it feels like rights are being taken away, when it feels like people in my community are not safe in my community. So if we are believing what Charles Fillmore says about the power of love, that it insists that all is good, that is part of our responsibility. That is part of our big, audacious, full faith. That we have to believe that love calls us to be in the knowing, the deep, powerful, beyond the circumstances knowing that all is good. That is love calling us higher. And it sucks sometimes. Because man, how easy would it be to say, you know what? I'm not going to believe that it's all good. I'm going to rage against the machine. I'm going to doubt that people are actually looking out for me. I am going to play the victim role. That is so much easier than being love and saying all is good, and I refuse to see it no other way than good. That love is so powerful in that way. And it is such a bugger in that way too. She goes on to say in this chapter about love, Linda Martelowitz, that the harmonizing power of love is natural to us, within us, at the core of us. It sets a point for interpreting life's people and events in the direction of good. That's that good thing again. As the late great Unity leader Eric Butterworth taught, we are not in the world to see it right, but to see it rightly. Nowhere is this evidence more than in the valiant effort we make to resolve discord in our lives. Anyone else have discord in their lives? No? Just me? We have a built-in intolerance for disharmony. Signals of discord arise from within us, from discordant thoughts and feelings, even when it appears that the discord is outside of us, in the world around us, or in a particular circumstance. Fortunately, the ability to restore harmony is also innate. That when we are thinking about love that is natural to us, that is at the core of our being, even if we choose not to step into love, it is who we are. It is the core possibility, the core manifestation of God within us as love. And whether we choose to or not, we are it. The choice we get to have is, are we going to live it? Because it is calling us higher constantly. That is what love does. Those pull on your heartstring moments are love calling you higher. One of my newfound favorite authors, his name is Bob Goff. He's more evangelical Christian than some Unity circles, but if you can get past some of that language, it is full of experiences and stories of faith told very exquisitely. And so one of his first books was called Love Does. And so there is a quote from that book that says, love doesn't just think about it, love doesn't just plan it, love does it. Love doesn't just think about it, love doesn't just plan it, love does it. That how many of us have not said yes to being love, and so we're still caught in the place of thinking about it, of planning it, and haven't taken the step of doing it. But if we are saying yes to the call of love to call us higher, it takes action. That our fifth unity principles calls us into action, because we cannot just sit on our holy little tushes and say something else will get it. God's got it. We have to be part of the change of saying yes to the responsibility of being love in the world. That is an action we have to take. The action of love is undeniable, because when we start, we cannot stop. Bob Goff says later in Love does whatever it takes to multiply itself, and somehow along the way, everyone becomes part of it. What a potential opportunity for us. Love does whatever it takes to multiply itself, and somehow along the way, everyone becomes part of it. Everyone becomes part of the peace. Everyone becomes part of the compassion. Everyone becomes part of the justice. Everyone becomes part of the change. Love does whatever it takes to multiply itself, and that means saying yes to answering the call of love. To not just be loving, but to be loved. To not just say yes to being loved, but to be loved, because we can be all of that and so much more when we say yes to the profound responsibility of love, of being love, of being love in thought, in word, in emotion, in action, and to bringing everyone else on that journey with us. That is the power of love. And so I invite us to shift our energy a little bit, to take whatever words have jumped out at you, have hit a piece of you, to take that into meditation. Because the beautiful thing about a talk is what I got from it and what you got from it will be intrinsically different, because it is feeding a piece of our soul that needs to be fed. So whatever it is for you, I invite you to hold on to that nugget of wisdom, of contemplation, of challenge. And pulling from divine audacity, we are going to sink into the meditation written for the meditation of love. And so wherever you are in that space, I invite you to just tap into your heart space. Begin breathing from that heart space, finding whatever rhythm of breath feels natural and deepens your experience. And from the words of Linda Martellowitz, I focus my attention on the energy center of love within my body, in and around my heart. To attune to this radiating center of love, I place my hand over my heart while envisioning a soft pink glow emanating from my heart. Divine love is my name and my true nature. I gratefully acknowledge that the well of love can never run dry, for the source of love is eternal. Under the influence of love, I awaken to more love than I have ever known. I call forth the magnetizing power of divine love. My thoughts are magnetic. Whatever dreams I am holding, I send through them that pink light of love. I center myself in realization that the dreams I have planted and I am devoted to must bear fruit by the magnetizing power of love. I call forth from within me the harmonizing power of love. Love harmonizes my thoughts, words, and actions, so I see things rightly and bring about good. I see myself, others, and all conditions through the lens of harmonizing love. I express love by seeing the good in all. I am the harmonizing power of love. I call forth from within me the unifying power of love. I am divine love, unifying my thoughts, words, and actions until I only know oneness. I see myself in others, others in myself, and God in all of us. For I am one. I send out from within me the pink light of love, blessing me and all people in my life. I am the power of love. And so knowing that you are the power of love, I invite you to take one final deep breath in this space. Wiggle your toes, shrug your shoulders, and come back to this space and time. I want to thank you for being on this journey of being love with me, because we know that it is a ripple effect for true change in this world. Blessings to you. Thank you so much. Have a great day.
Wow.
Very good, very good.
Wow. Thank you, Reverend Lily. That was amazing.
Has tied that in with class.
So
Perfectly.
perfectly, so
She's the one who's
perfectly.
I actually had a question about that line.
Which line?
God is not
Loving.
loving.
Oh,
God
yeah,
is love. That
Yeah.
I was
Yeah.
wrestling with
Yeah.
that. Oh my God.
that's so great, yeah. So
Yeah,
that's
that's
gonna be, it's gonna be part of the class this coming Thursday, yes? 7:00, yeah.
7 o'clock.
If anybody is interested in that because of what you just heard, check out the website, click on the events, click on Thursday's date, and it tells you exactly what you need to read and what's happening, and bring you right up to where we
So how
are.
much longer will that be going
It's
on?
ongoing.
It's ongoing, there's no like end.
Okay.
12 hours, 12 months.
Yeah.
It just keeps
So however, yeah, it's nice because she doesn't do a whole huge chunk that's overwhelming and you go, ah. She breaks it down really nice, she uses videos, she uses music, it's
Yes.
really, really nice how she does it.
compares unity with
Yeah.
other
Yeah.
new thought and
Yeah, it's really great.
Very good.
So Thursdays at 7.
yes.
And you can email info@ufea.org for the Zoom link
Mm-hmm.
if you need it, or you can get it from the website. So now it is time for tithes and love offerings. Okay,
And
now it's
a little jazz.
Okay. Divine love
Through me, blesses and multiplies all that I am, all that I have, all that I give, all that I receive, and I am grateful.
I'll give you all a few moments, do your PayPal thing, whatever you do. Yeah, all of them up here. We don't pass that around since COVID. I could help you though. Look, I could do that.
Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else? Anybody else? Bueller? No?
I'm waiting for the square.
Oh, I hope I can figure that out. Oh. We will now have a final blessing for our offerings. We acknowledge the source of all that is, and we hold an attitude of gratitude for these tithes and love offerings that have been so freely given. We are so grateful for the many ways that our gifts will serve the community. And we enfold the loving souls who have requested prayers in the absolute truth of God, declaring with pure faith that all prayers are heard and responded to in the highest expression of God's will. And so it is. So it is. And so the peace song, yes? What music? There you go.
Let there be peace on earth and let it begin with me. Let there be peace on earth, the peace that was meant to be. With God as creator, family all are we. Let us walk with each other in perfect harmony. Let peace begin with me. Let this be the moment now. With every step I take, let this be my joyous vow. To take each moment and live each moment in peace eternally. Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me. compassion. The light of God surrounds us. The love of God enfolds us. The power of God protects us. The presence of God watches over us. Wherever we are, God is, and all is well. Namaste.
Thank you for being with us, sharing your light. Thank you, Luke. You gonna play a little?
He's gonna
Yay!
He's gonna play some.
And thank you, Reverend Lily. Namaste.
Oh, beautiful job. Very good. I'm gonna put it over on him there, though.